Hello, this is Mick Foley, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Curtis Axel, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Rob Van Dam. You're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Aw, yeah. Welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is our website. Here on TSN 690 every Saturday night, talking professional wrestling. You can follow along. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, with the .net spelled out D-O-T-N-E-T. Of course, we have the world-famous Wrestling Uncensored pre-show, soon to be renamed, maybe Dave and Johnny Uncensored. Who knows? We're going to decide that on the 400th episode of Wrestling Uncensored, which is coming up very soon. Very soon. This show right now that you're listening to is episode number 398 of Wrestling Uncensored. So 400 will be coming in a couple of weeks on August the 4th, and we are planning a big show for August 4th, so stay tuned to TSN 690 and Wrestling Uncensored as 400 is coming up, and we're very excited about that. Follow me on Twitter at Dave Simon MMA, on Instagram at Dave Simon MMA. You can follow Johnny North at North Genesis on Twitter and at Genesis Johnny North on Instagram. Big man Johnny North. If you want to see him in the ring, check out all his stuff on his Twitter feed, all his bookings, if you want to book him, at North Genesis. We had WWE Extreme Rules last weekend. I broke it down live, as we do every episode, or every pay-per-view, right, for the WWE. We are on live on our YouTube channel, so I was on live after Extreme Rules, breaking down the whole card. Johnny, you weren't there with me. But I kind of want to move forward looking at SummerSlam, but I'm sure some stuff from Extreme Rules will come up over the next hour here. I think Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley is going to come up, because Lashley wins at Extreme Rules. I thought that was the shocker of the night. I don't know about you, but I kind of expected Roman Reigns to win that match. And then we see Paul Heyman show up on Raw the next night. When Kurt Angle, the Raw GM, he says, okay, Brock Lesnar is a Universal Champion. He needs to defend his title. So he either needs to agree to show up at SummerSlam, or I'm going to strip him of the title. So Paul Heyman shows up and he says, okay, we will agree to wrestle at SummerSlam. So Kurt Angle sets up 2 triple threat matches, where the winners of the 2 triple threat matches will face each other this coming Monday on Raw to determine a number 1 contender for Brock Lesnar. Now, of course, Bobby Lashley wins his triple threat, Roman Reigns wins his, and now coming up on Monday night, we have a match we saw just this past weekend at Extreme Rules. Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns again. Except this time, it counts for something. This time, there's a Universal title match at SummerSlam against Brock Lesnar on the line. It's kind of annoying, because we just saw a match between Roman and Lashley with a definitive finish, and I feel like that match should have been dubbed a number 1 contenders match. But, of course, we have a lot of TV time leading into SummerSlam, so they had to fill the time with something, and this is what they chose. Is this match coming up Monday night, and was the match at Extreme Rules just kind of an evening out effect, where, okay, Lashley may have won the pay-per-view match, but the match here on Monday night that's for the shot of Brock Lesnar, this is where Roman gets the win back?
Well, this match that we just saw at Extreme Rules, I think it did a couple of things. One, it gave Bobby Lashley that big win that he hasn't got since he came back. Since he came back, he hasn't really done much of anything. He had a feud with Sami Zayn, which was not particularly good at all. So him against Roman Reigns, one-on-one, that was really the only thing he's done since his comeback. So I think it just put him in the mix. That's all that match did. But, like Kurt Angle said this week on Raw, everyone who came out and asked to wrestle Brock Lesnar, they all had good reasons. Though I would question, does Drew McIntyre really deserve a title shot?
Why did Drew McIntyre deserve a title shot? Why did Seth Rollins deserve a title shot? He lost at Extreme Rules.
Right.
Why did Roman Reigns deserve a title shot? He lost at Extreme Rules.
Roman, because of the controversy with
Brock.
With
okay.
Brock, yeah.
Yeah. What about Finn Balor? I guess because he beat Baron Corbin, he deserves a title shot?
And he never got a title shot for the Universal title that he forfeited.
How does Elias deserve a title shot?
I can't explain that one. See, I was going to say there were some holes to this logic, but this was the story they were telling. So Bobby had to earn it, and he did this week, but that's it. We're going to have to see this match again. And it's not Monday Night Raw if you don't see another rematch, because it seems like that's all we see on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. Same match over and over and over again.
It's 5 weeks until we get to SummerSlam.
4 more weeks now.
Right, but that's it. We need to do something in the meantime, and that's it. We need to finally get this ironed out. Who is the number one contender? And that's 1 week. And then the next week, Brock is going to be back on TV again.
Really?
Yep, Brock will be back.
So not this Monday, but the Monday after, Brock Lesnar is going to be on Raw.
I believe so.
Really? Is that official?
Maybe.
Oh, good job, John.
Again, it's with Brock, right? Brock is scheduled to appear. Doesn't mean he's going to appear.
Yeah. We'll see. Is this going to be the whole deal where it's like Brock Lesnar's supposed to appear, but then he doesn't, and Roman Reigns cuts his whole promo again where he's like, Brock Lesnar doesn't care about you. Brock Lesnar, blah, blah, blah. I'm here every week. He's never here. Cheer for me. Is it going to be that promo again? Didn't we see that already? Wasn't that the promo leading into, what, Mania?
It was. I feel Brock should show up this week on Raw and lay both guys out. And then we get the 4-way match, which I believe we were going to get from the start.
4-way, Brock, Roman, Bobby, and
Braun.
Why Braun?
Because just make it official that he's going to cash in at SummerSlam. Like RVD said, like, I'm cashing in at One Night Stand against John Cena. And they had the cash in. It was that main event for that pay-per-view. And just say, I'm coming in to cash in, so might as well make it a 4-way.
Well, Braun did say he was interviewed backstage during Raw. Braun holding that Money in the Bank briefcase. He said he didn't need to put his name in the mix for one of those triple threat matches to face Brock because with the Money in the Bank briefcase, he can cash in whenever he wants. But he didn't really lean in any kind of direction, you know? He didn't say, well, because I'm going to cash in here, or I'm going to cash in there. It was just like, I don't need to be in a number one contenders match. I don't need to be involved in any of this because I have Money in the Bank.
That's true.
Yeah. But it doesn't lead me to believe that he wants in to a title match. You know, I don't know if Braun is going to be inserted into a 4-way. I don't know if even a triple threat is the way to go. If I were booking things, I would book Brock and Lashley one-on-one at SummerSlam. That's what I want to see. That's what I was hoping for after Extreme Rules that we would get now because Bobby beat Roman. We would get Bobby versus Brock one-on-one. I think that's the most compelling match.
I think there's a problem that Bobby Lashley isn't quite over yet. That's why the match at Extreme Rules wasn't a number one contender match, because they couldn't justify that Bobby Lashley could right away become number one contender. Because he hasn't really done enough, in the fans' eyes anyways, to justify just coming in and being number one contender when he hasn't really done anything.
But he beat Roman Reigns. Like, that should have been enough. They should have just said, look, this is the number one contenders match. It should have main evented Extreme Rules. I don't know about you, but the Seth Rollins-Dolph Ziggler match was not that great. I didn't like it that much. I know you're a bigger fan of those guys than I am, but I did not think they delivered, especially not for a main event of a pay-per-view. Roman and Bobby should have main evented that thing. They're more important.
In that logic, I agree. I don't think Rollins-Ziggler was a bad match. I just don't think it should have been the main event.
Was it great, though? Like, It wasn't a bad match, but was it like, oh my God, this is awesome?
The problem is it's an Iron Man, and 30 minutes for the fans to be engaged in something after that, you might have to have like a bathroom break match pretty much in between, and they didn't want any match to be like that. So that's why I think it won on last.
It wasn't very good.
I didn't think it was bad, but again, Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns, that was more important, and that should have been the main event.
That's right. And the ending was better.
Yes.
Like the finish to Ziggler and Rollins was like, oh, little interference here from Drew McIntyre. Here comes Ziggler. Boom. Hits him with the thing. 1, 2, 3. Ziggler wins. Just a very simple distraction finish like we see on any old episode of Monday Night Raw. Whereas the Lashley-Roman finish was a clean victory. Bobby Lashley hit a spear, pinned Roman in the middle of the ring. It was the most shocking thing that happened at Extreme Rules, except for maybe Kevin Owens falling off the cage there. But as far as the finish and the direction, it was the most impressive thing that they did. They had a clean finish, putting somebody over Roman Reigns. It's not something that happens every day in the WWE, and it was just kind of thrown in there on the middle of the card, not really given the spotlight that it should have been given as the main event of that pay-per-view. And I think you're right. Bobby Lashley is just not over enough with the WWE fans to put him in that spot. Like, it's just not working right now with Bobby Lashley for one reason or another. I think the promos have a lot to do with it. I think people are not as familiar with Bobby Lashley as we are.
Right.
You know? Like, for us, it's like, oh, yeah, Bobby Lashley. He's never been out of our consciousness, you know? Lashley left the WWE 10 years ago, and after that, I'd say maybe 70% of the WWE fans lost all sight of Bobby Lashley and have no idea what he's been doing in the past 10 years or that he even existed anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But for us, Bobby Lashley left the WWE, he went to TNA, he did fights in Bellator, he's done things, we followed his career, we've seen what he's done. We never lost sight of Bobby Lashley, but I think we're in the minority. I think most WWE fans, they kind of lost who Bobby Lashley is. They don't really know. It's not the same people that were watching 10 years ago. So people now, like say you were 5 years old and now you're 15, you don't know Bobby Lashley, and you don't care.
The problem I find with Bobby, the main problem is, who is he? And WWE has not done a good job at defining who Bobby Lashley is. I mean, they mention, yeah, he's an MMA fighter, but they don't shove it down your throats like, this guy's legit, this guy could take your head off. You don't get that feeling when Bobby comes out. It's just he's all smiles, looks good. That's it. There's nothing more to him. And WWE did a terrible job of presenting him to the new audience.
Have we seen any video of Lashley beating people up in MMA in the WWE? Have we seen any of that?
I don't think so.
Why not?
They're not selling him as a fighter. They're just selling him as someone who looks impressive and has done impressive things, but that was a long time ago. And I guess they can't mention... Well, I guess they mentioned that he main evented WrestleMania when he never actually did.
No.
But they can't mention what happened because it was involved with Trump, and they want to kind of not mention that whatsoever.
I thought it was because it was Umaga, and they don't want to talk about Umaga.
It might be a little bit both. But that's it. They can't glorify Bobby more than he actually is, and that's a problem.
See, people don't even know enough to know that when the WWE says Bobby Lashley main evented WrestleMania, a lot of people are like, oh, he did? You know?
But he actually didn't, but whatever. Like,
yeah, no, he didn't, but we know he didn't. Did Austin stun him, or he just posed with him?
I think he just stunned Trump.
Austin stunned Donald Trump.
That was it, though. I think he left after he stunned Trump.
Before he was president.
Right.
Although it'd be cool to see him stun him again now. By God, Stone Cold with a stunner on Donald Trump. Just stunned him out of the Oval Office.
It's just cool. There's that picture with Trump with the McMahon family, and it's like, it's like the stunner hit list. Like, he stunned all these people. It's just the kids he didn't stun yet.
Not yet. Give him time. All McMahons will be stunnered by Stone Cold. But Bobby Lashley is just not connecting with the WWE audience as much as maybe he could be. And I think the presentation of Bobby Lashley as this smiling guy who was in the army, who was a good amateur wrestler, who's really jacked now, is not a great portrayal of who Bobby Lashley really is. And the character that he was doing in TNA is a much better version of Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley was a very Brock Lesnar-esque character. He was the big, bad MMA fighter that was the most legit guy in the company, and you couldn't actually take him out in a real fight or in a pro wrestling match. And Bobby Lashley, again, right now in the WWE, is one of those guys that it's the same thing, you know? It's not like he went from TNA to the WWE and all of a sudden there's all these tough guys in the WWE that could beat him up for real. Bobby Lashley could still be that guy, except for Brock Lesnar already has that gimmick of the MMA fighter. But why not have Lashley as also an MMA fighter, also legit, also with the skills to beat Brock, and put them in a match at SummerSlam one-on-one?
They should have sold it like that, but unfortunately they didn't. I think Bobby kind of alludes to it.
Yeah.
You know, they don't get behind it, though. That's the problem.
He kind of said, like, Roman's like, hey, you quit WWE to become a star in the MMA, and it didn't work out. It's like, come on, Roman. You try MMA. See how you do. Bobby went 15-2. What would you do? I don't think he'd do that well. And then, you know, Lashley says things like, I've got the skills necessary to beat Brock. I'm the most legit threat. You know, he says things like that. But I don't, you know, it'd be cool if he said, I'm 15-2 MMA. I haven't lost a fight in 5 years. Bobby Lashley should have been in this Bellator Heavyweight Grand Prix. I don't know why Bobby Lashley's not fighting MMA anymore. And that was the weird thing about Bobby Lashley in TNA. His angle for a while was, am I going to stay in TNA and be a pro wrestler, or am I going to go and leave and be an MMA fighter? And then at one point, it was decided that he would leave to be an MMA fighter, except he never actually did that. He never fought MMA like during that time, and he stayed just a wrestler. And since then, he stayed a wrestler. He hasn't fought in several years.
But it added interest. The whole, like, oh, is he going to go? Is he not going to go?
Well, he brought a lot of his crew, American Top Team, on to TNA with him. Like that guy, Colby Covington.
Right, yeah.
He was there with Bobby Lashley. And now you know who he is, right?
Oh, yes.
He's talking a lot of trash. Is he the interim welterweight champion? I think he is. There's so many interim champions now in the UFC, I can't even keep track. That tells you something about the UFC these days. Kind of a mess.
Is he going to fight Nick Diaz?
Colby is the interim champion, right?
Yeah.
He beat Rafael Dos Anjos for the interim welterweight title. Colby should be fighting Tyron Woodley next.
Not Diaz?
Who?
Nick Diaz? No.
Nick Diaz.
Didn't he challenge Nick Diaz?
Yeah, he challenged everybody. Doesn't mean the guys are going to fight him. Colby Covington wants a payday. But Colby Covington is this guy in MMA and the UFC right now who's made a name for himself by talking a lot of trash. Very pro wrestling style. And this guy, before he was in TNA with Bobby Lashley, is just kind of a hanger-on in Lashley's crew, wasn't this pro wrestling trash-talking guy. So he learned something from hanging with Lashley in TNA. You could tell. It's very obvious. No one knew who Colby Covington was for a while. Then all of a sudden, he's in TNA. He's figuring it out, you know? But Lashley had guys like that around him in TNA. You know, American Top Team guys. He was hanging with those guys. But that hasn't really transferred over to the WWE. It's like a lighter version of it. Kind of like the broken Matt Hardy gimmick. It's a lighter version.
This might be the problem with WWE. It's just they're not able to get edgy enough with their characters. They try to keep them more towards kids, and they don't want Bobby to be this super badass. Like Brock can do it because Brock breaks all the rules, but Bobby needs to stay within the realms of a WWE superstar.
He needs to be a smiling babyface for the kids.
It doesn't work, unfortunately. I still like Bobby. I think Bobby, in my opinion, it's the match I want to see the most for Brock because we've never seen it before.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered, like, what would it be like? But
the WWE doesn't have the ability to build it properly to make it what it should be.
Oh, they haven't. They've failed already before we even get there.
They could do it, though. They have 4 weeks. They just don't have the vision.
Well, I know you don't believe it's going to happen. You want it to happen, but you don't believe it's going to happen.
Lashley Brock 1-on-1?
Right.
After Bobby beat Roman at Extreme Rules, I thought it was going to happen. But now that we have a match Monday night where it's Roman in the rematch with Bobby and the winner faces Brock at SummerSlam, I'm not really buying it. What are the odds that Bobby Lashley beats Roman Reigns twice in a row?
No matter what, the fans are going to want that. The fans are going to be completely behind Bobby Lashley on Monday. As much as they haven't pushed him well, people want Bobby Lashley over Roman Reigns, at the very least.
I wouldn't be so sure. Where are they going to be at Monday? It depends on the town.
You really find it's changed that much? Wow.
Yeah. It doesn't really... I think where they are has a lot to do with the reaction. And I'm not sure that they'll be completely behind Bobby Lashley. They're going to be in Cincinnati Monday night for Raw. Right? Cincinnati on Monday. I don't know if Cincinnati is going to be 100% behind Bobby Lashley and not with Roman Reigns. Uh-oh. Isn't Dean Ambrose from Cincinnati?
They said Dean Ambrose late summer, so...
I heard he'd be coming back before SummerSlam.
Oh, then you should be very worried then.
Monday night, Dean Ambrose returns to Raw. Right? If there was ever a time for Dean Ambrose to come back, it would be Monday night in his hometown. There's been rumors of him coming back for a while. I think Cincinnati is probably the place.
I don't know if we really need it at this point. I think they're trying to set up how SummerSlam is going to be. Is Dean Ambrose really going to wrestle at SummerSlam? I feel maybe he'd appear, but wrestle? Be very surprised. They said 9 months. 9 months would be in August, no?
I don't know. Maybe he's ready. Maybe Dean Ambrose interferes in the Lashley-Roman match on Monday night, and we set up a fatal 4-way between Brock, Roman, Bobby, and Dean Ambrose.
As long as we get Bobby and Brock in some capacity, I'd be happy with that. I could settle with that. I just want to see that.
Would you be happy with Dean Ambrose in that match?
He's just filler. It's fine. I don't mind that.
He's coming back, eh? Eventually he's going to be back.
Well, yeah, eventually it's going to happen. But you say he's going to come back this Monday Night on Raw. Who's to say he's not going to go to SmackDown?
Well, he's on Raw, isn't he?
Yeah, but look at Kane. Wasn't Kane on Raw?
Was he?
He was, but then he went to SmackDown.
Yeah, well, Kane's different, I guess.
I think guys just go to the shows that they kind of need them to go to. It doesn't really matter.
I don't think Raw needs Dean Ambrose. I think SmackDown would be a better fit.
And they're supposed to announce who AJ Styles' opponent's going to be? Dean Ambrose coming back? Man, you're loving this, aren't you?
Yeah, that was something coming up on SmackDown this Tuesday, right? Paige is going to make an announcement about AJ Styles' SummerSlam opponent.
I think there's just going to be a Battle Royal on SmackDown. That's it.
To determine an opponent for AJ?
That's what I think is going to go down.
Well, who is it? Who do you want to see wrestle AJ Styles at SummerSlam?
I think you know who it is.
Samoan Joe?
I'd like that, but it's not the guy I want to see wrestle AJ Styles.
Who do you want to see?
Wow. He came back this week.
Randy?
That's right.
But Randy's got to wrestle Jeff Hardy first.
It's too bad. I know it's probably going to be a 3-way for the U.S. title, but really what they should do is Randy or AJ Styles. I think Randy, especially after what he did this week, I think Randy's the top heel right now on SmackDown. I think one with Randy for the WWE Championship, 14th time.
It doesn't make sense, though, because Randy is involved in something else. Randy and AJ at SummerSlam is not happening.
It's too bad.
No, it isn't. That's not what I want to see. Randy, I mean, that was pretty crazy.
It was awesome.
On the pay-per-view, he showed up, and it looked like he was going to attack Nakamura, but he didn't. He attacked Jeff Hardy. And then again, Jeff Hardy, he's about to beat Nakamura, take the U.S. title back. He hits the Swanton, 1, 2, and Randy Orton pulls Jeff Hardy out of the ring and then proceeds to beat down Jeff Hardy while Nakamura just kind of watches.
Mm-hmm.
Randy beats up Jeff, and then Jeff has like a hole in his earlobe, where like an earring used to be or whatever.
It's basically a very huge hole in his ear.
What's that called? Like a spacer or something? I don't know. I don't have piercings. But he's got like a hole in his ear, and Randy stuck his finger through the hole and was like yanking on the ear. It was gruesome. It was really gross. It's good stuff from Randy Orton. And Jeff Hardy, I'm sure, was the one who told him to do it, right? Randy's not going to be like, hey, I'm going to stick my finger through your ear. I think Jeff's like, no, do this. Randy's like, yeah. I guess. And it looked really awful. It just looked horrible. Randy just yanking Jeff by the ear. It was just gross. One of the more intense, violent things that you'll ever see on SmackDown. I was shocked. I was legit shocked that they were doing that. I was like, wow. I did not expect them to do that. Like, go down that road. That is crazy.
Considering WWE, we just had Extreme Rules that didn't feel that extreme. That was probably one of the most extreme things I've seen WWE in a long time.
Yeah.
It was that intense.
It was really intense. It was extreme. It really was. It was like, oh my God. It was one of those things where you watch it and you're like, I cannot believe WWE is doing this right now.
Well, I guess Jeff, his ears are very flexible, and I guess when you have your hole like that, you can do that. But wow, it looks so painful, and I would never want anyone to ever do that to me ever.
No, me neither. And I'd be willing to bet that it never happens again.
I imagine they're getting quite the reactions from this.
I think the reaction that it got, and like. I think in theory when you say, okay, I'm going to stick my finger in Jeff's ear and I'm going to pull him a bit, you say that and then you actually see it, two different things. So maybe in the planning stages for this, WWE's like, yeah, okay, that sounds fine. Just go out and do it. And then when they actually saw it, they're like, oh my God, that was crazy. And they're going to tell Randy and Jeff, look, don't do that again. Do whatever, have your match. Just don't do the ear thing again. I'd be willing to bet that Randy never sticks his finger in Jeff's ear again, because seeing it was really, it was almost too much. I was grossed out.
Well, I feel like he's got to tease it again, right? Because we remember it, unless they just erase that this happened, which they do sometimes.
They shouldn't.
But I think he'll tease it, and Jeff might stop him this time, or he should stop him this time.
Yeah. So, does Randy want a shot at Nakamura? Does he want the U.S. title? What's the deal? And Randy's mad at Jeff, and they're acting like they don't know why Randy's mad at Jeff. But isn't Randy mad at Jeff because last time Randy was around, Jeff took his U.S. title shot?
Well, also beat Randy as well, actually.
He beat Randy.
Yeah.
What happened exactly?
He just straight up beat him at Backlash.
Right. And then Randy went away for a while.
He had surgery, yeah.
So this is Randy's revenge.
Yeah, so it makes sense why he'd go after Jeff, but yeah, they're selling it like, oh, why would he do such a thing?
Well, they were feuding when Randy was last here.
One of Randy's best feuds ever in WWE history. It's up there with Christian, him and Jeff, so.
Really?
Oh, yeah. If you think about it, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, remember the match they had at the Rumble, I think, in 2009? Amazing match.
I don't really recall.
It was really good.
Okay, I'll go back and watch it. It's almost 10 years ago.
It just goes to show you how good Randy's been.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Johnny putting Randy over again. You love him, eh? You must have been so happy to see him.
I was disappointed we didn't get the RKO, but he's not a face anymore. So.
I was surprised we didn't get the RKO, but I guess it's because he's going heel.
Right.
He didn't want to give the fans what they wanted.
That's good. That's fine.
Smart.
But it's going to be hard. He's going to have to hit it eventually.
I'm happy that he's a heel on SmackDown. I think Randy as a heel is way better than Randy as a babyface.
Well, I mentioned on Raw, they're starting for heels. I mean, SmackDown as well. I mean, AJ's a great champion. Had, in my opinion, probably the match of the week against Almas, without question.
Oh, that match was really good.
Yeah, like, fantastic. But that's it. You need strong heels. And that's why you had to switch Randy.
And you notice that match with AJ Styles and Andrade Cien Almas, they are leaning into the whole Tranquilo stuff, the Ingobernable stuff. They are not shying away from it. At first we thought, oh, maybe they're not going to let Almas do the Tranquilo pose anymore. And then you see him and Zelina do it as well at the same time. Like, they make a whole show of it. And then Corey Graves is like, Tranquilo! Like, they're really going full out Ingobernables. Now, if you don't know, Los Ingobernables was a group in Mexico. Andrade Cien Almas, going under the name La Sombra, was one of the members, maybe a founding member. Tetsuya Naito, he joined up in Mexico with La Sombra and became a member of Los Ingobernables. When Naito went back to New Japan, he formed Los Ingobernables de Japón. And that's one of the biggest factions in New Japan right now. It's very hot, Los Ingobernables. And Naito is one of the biggest wrestlers in the world. So now Andrade Cien Almas in the WWE, he is going with it. And the WWE, they see what's going on, you know, with the Bullet Club and Los Ingobernables, and they are trying to get a little piece of it any way they can. And we saw that on SmackDown this week. Former leader of the Bullet Club, AJ Styles, taking on Andrade Cien Almas, former leader of Los Ingobernables, in a WWE ring. It was kind of crazy to see. Like when Andrade did the Tranquilo pose, I wanted AJ to like do the gun pose at him and shoot him, you know? Do the little gun thing, Bullet Club. That would have been sweet. Too sweet.
Yeah, but he doesn't do that. And plus, doing the gun pose in WWE, I don't know if that would fly.
Yeah, I guess
too
you're not
well.
allowed to do it.
Not in the U.S., not so much.
So you're saying Kenny Omega could never work in WWE because he couldn't do his signature goodbye, mwah, and good night, bang, catchphrase.
Plus, he has too many knees. I think they'd be upset because Nakamura does all the knees.
Knee to face.
Yeah.
I'll take the V-trigger over the Kinshasa all day.
I would too, but they've established Nakamura, so.
V-trigger! My God, Kenny Omega's good. So much better than everybody else.
I think AJ's still over Omega, but Omega's number 2.
Yeah, well, you're not watching enough Omega.
Man, did you see AJ this week? Like that
You saw Omega versus Okada, right?
And you saw AJ.
When's the last time AJ had a better match than that?
It's been a while, but
Maybe,
still.
yeah, it's been a long time.
But he still had it.
I don't know if he did.
I
don't know AJ's ever had a better match than Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada at Dominion.
Well, what are you talking about? Like his matches in TNA? Like, come on.
No, I don't think anything he did there was better than Omega and Okada.
That's hard to say. I
Well,
mean,
find me a match that was better.
right
find
away,
one.
Right away, AJ, Joe, and Daniels. Like,
I don't think it was better. I disagree. Kenny Omega.
I can
Best
never
bout
appease-
machine. Ichiban.
Man, AJ Okada too. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah. But Omega was better. That's all I'm saying. I like Nakamura. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing from Nakamura. I like heel Nakamura. He's the new United States champion. I think it'll be Nakamura versus Randy versus Jeff Hardy in a triple threat for the U.S. title at SummerSlam. But that still leaves the spot open as to who will challenge AJ Styles at SummerSlam. And I think it's going to be Samoa Joe. Why not? Joe this week just decimated Ty Dillinger. It seems like they're just waiting to give that spot to Joe. It's Joe's time. Who else on SmackDown makes sense right now?
I just want to say I have a little bit of a problem with that match with Ty Dillinger. Like, Dillinger had him on the outside, and Joe rammed Dillinger crotch first into the post.
Yeah.
How is that not a disqualification?
I don't know.
That's a low blow. That's a blatant low blow. He meant to do that, clearly, to crotch him. How is that not a disqualification?
Well, if somebody's on the top rope and you
say that was an accident. You know, you meant to push
No,
him.
not if you do it on purpose. You see guys do that all the time, where somebody's on the top rope and the guy will kick the ropes, so the guy falls down and crotches himself. It's the same thing,
How
John.
do you know it's going to be a crotch, though?
It's incidental. It's incidental.
Yeah, this was clearly not. You're shoving him. Like
The only time it's a disqualification is if you strike the guy low. But if you like ram him into something, and it's like if you ram him into something, you could ram him into something any way you want. You could do it head first. You could do it feet first. You could do it crotch first.
I think crotch first. It's wrong. That's a blatant low blow, in my opinion.
Well, you know, the WWE rules are spotty, you know? How many matches end with guys holding the trunks right in front of the referee for a 3 count? You can do closed fists now in WWE, you know?
It's ridiculous.
I remember a day when the referee would be like, hey, no closed fists. This is pro wrestling. Now guys throw punches constantly. It's all they do.
And we'll get random DQs for throwing a guy over a table. Like, it's just the rules are all over the place.
And it's hard to follow because it's not consistent. Doesn't make sense. But I think Joe and AJ is the match for SummerSlam, right? Why not? It's got to be Joe and AJ. That's a big match for SummerSlam. SummerSlam is one of those cards where you're trying to do the biggest stuff possible. The biggest match right now for AJ Styles on SmackDown is Samoa Joe. There's no bigger, more anticipated match for the WWE title than AJ versus Joe.
Well,
Except maybe AJ versus Daniel Bryan. But, you know, after The Miz did his little promo on Team Hell No this week, and Daniel Bryan showed up and chased off The Miz, it seems like Miz and Bryan is going to go on for SummerSlam. So Bryan and AJ is not possible right now because Bryan's locked up with this little Miz thing.
And that's the problem. Like, you want AJ versus Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship, and that's great. That's fine. But it's not the main match from SmackDown at SummerSlam. The main match from SmackDown is The Miz Daniel Bryan.
That's why Daniel Bryan should be the WWE champion. Because Daniel Bryan is the top babyface on SmackDown. Because Daniel Bryan is the number 1 guy in WWE right now. He just is. As good as AJ Styles is, his character is not as good as Daniel Bryan's. His story is not as good as Daniel Bryan's. And I would even say his matches are not as good as Daniel Bryan's.
Well, I'll completely question you right there because Extreme Rules, who had a better match?
Well, who had a better opponent? Who had a better setup? I mean, Bryan, that wasn't really a match, you know? Like, Bryan and Kane took a beating from the Bludgeon Brothers backstage before the match even happened. And then Bryan was like 2-on-1 against the Bludgeon Brothers, just taking a beating until Kane showed up, all beat up, and then they lost. It's like, that wasn't really a match. That was just like a segment, you know? You can't count that. AJ Styles is a WWE Championship match against Rusev. Rusev's giving it his all because he knows it's the only time he's ever going to wrestle the WWE Champion on pay-per-view. So, you can't compare the two. That's not fair. It's ridiculous.
Well, you compare it to this week. What did Daniel Bryan do? Just an attack on The Miz?
Yeah, he ran off The Miz. So what? And AJ Styles had a great match with Andrade Cien Almas. I'm not saying AJ Styles isn't capable of great matches. I'm saying Daniel Bryan is capable of greater matches. And much better promos. Let's be honest. Much better.
I think Daniel Bryan at times can be better than AJ Styles.
Promo-wise, he's way better.
At times.
Storytelling-wise, too. His matches, the stories he tells. AJ's great, but I think Bryan is better. I think AJ's more athletic than Daniel Bryan. He has more ability, more things he can do, but that doesn't mean he's a better wrestler.
That's tough because when I look at...
Hey, look, we're in a great spot. When we're trying to decide who's better on SmackDown, AJ Styles or Daniel Bryan, we're in a good spot here. And you can make that argument, and that's fine. And when you have one show with those two guys on it, not to mention Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura, you're doing pretty good. But that's a pretty solid show.
But they're not wrestling each other, and that's the problem. That's what the match should be.
Well, you got to spread them out to make those other guys look good because they're not good.
But it's the biggest show. It's the second biggest show. Like, it should be your top guys. No? Like...
Well, yeah, we're going to get... You look, Bryan versus Miz, okay, that's your SummerSlam main event. It's still a big match. There's a lot of build to that match. There's been a lot of talk about it for a long time.
Right.
AJ versus Joe, that's a huge match. Those are two of your top wrestlers. Shinsuke and Jeff Hardy and that other guy, Randy Orton. That'll be good. What's your problem?
My problem is, look at where the WWE Championship is. It's not even the main event of a SmackDown.
It wasn't even the main event at Extreme Rules. The Intercontinental title was the main event over the WWE title.
When people complain about that, I just look at the reason why. AJ, yeah, he's great. But him against Rusev, it's not a selling match, so you can say that's going to be a main event of a pay-per-view.
So you trying to push the idea on me to get Daniel Bryan with that WWE title as quickly as possible because he's clearly the top guy and he's going to bring the WWE title back to prominence? Because I'm with that. I'm down with that, John. Is that what you're trying to sell me on?
No, I think AJ is still the man on SmackDown. He just needs better opponents. That's it. And Samoa Joe's great, but Samoa Joe did nothing at Extreme Rules.
No matter what, anybody that wrestles at SummerSlam is going to be overshadowed by Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey.
Sadly. But on SmackDown, you can't even be the main event of SmackDown? It's pretty bad.
That's Daniel Bryan, brother.
It's pretty bad.
AJ wasn't even the main event of SmackDown this week. It was Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura. Those guys doing their thing.
Yeah, but what was the match, though? What was the match of the show?
Yeah, but it was like the first match on the card. They opened the show.
And they blew it away.
Yeah, of course. They're very good. Andrade Cien Almas is a guy who's going to be in that league, too, with the Nakamuras and the Jeffs and the Daniel Bryans. He's very good.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt him that he just ate his first loss.
Well, he lost to AJ Styles, and he looked good in the process. You know, he got a lot of over.
Well, this is it. Like, he hasn't really done anything. All he did was wrestle jobbers, and he wrestled Sin Cara, and then he gets to wrestle AJ Styles. Like, having an impressive performance against WWE Champion, they can work something with that. He can do something off that. They can build off that. Him just saying that he's great and not doing anything, nothing's really happening off that.
We'll see what happens. SummerSlam coming up in 4 weeks. It's Wrestling Uncensored. We got to take a short pause here on TSN 690. When we come back, we will tell you what Ronda Rousey will be doing at SummerSlam. We know, and it's going to be pretty cool. Stay with us.
Hey, this is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Hey, this is Antonio Cesaro, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Hey, this is Trish Stratus, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored. Keep listening. Stratisfaction is guaranteed.
All right, welcome back. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is our website here on TSN 690 every Saturday night talking professional wrestling. Be sure to tune in to the world-famous Dave and Johnny Uncensored show or the Wrestling Uncensored pre-show or whatever it's going to be called. Tune into it every Friday afternoon on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. We go live with you, taking all your comments and questions live on YouTube. You can see us. You can talk to us. We talk about 90 Day Fiancé. We talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling. We talk about the WWE. And all of this available on our YouTube channel. So go check it out live every Friday afternoon.
It's funny you forgot about what the thumb was all about. That was great.
Your movie review?
You forgot 50 Shades of Grey when we talked about the thumb up the butt.
Oh, boy.
You forgot about that. That was a great moment this week on the pre-show. Fantastic.
Yeah, so if you missed the show yesterday, go check it out right now on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. We have WWE business at hand, and thumb, and finger, and whatever. Johnny, you...
Hand? Mae Young? No?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a Mark Henry fan, I guess.
Did you see Miz had Kane's mask on one of Al Snow's old heads?
I didn't notice that, but that's
well, I don't think it was actually Al Snow's head, but it was just a mannequin head, but it made me think of Al Snow.
That's funny. I didn't think about that.
What does everybody want? So, Ronda Rousey will be wrestling Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title at SummerSlam.
It's official?
I don't know, is it? I thought it was.
Yeah, but I feel like because Baron lost his phone, so he didn't get to talk to Stephanie, so I feel like there might be some shenanigans involved.
Right. So Alexa Bliss cut a whole promo. Ronda Rousey showed up through the crowd. Alexa and Mickey tried to run away, but Ronda caught Mickey and slammed her down pretty rough. She tried to armbar Mickey James, but Alexa pulled her away, and then referees tried to stop them. Ronda ran after and tackled Alexa Bliss, the referees, and Mickey James. Ronda just taking everybody out. Another Ronda rampage. Ronda judo tossed Alexa and then tried to armbar her, but Kurt Angle showed up and was like, Ronda, you got to stop. You got 2 days left on your suspension. You got to go home. You can't be on Raw. And then Baron Corbin's like, that's it. She's just going to go home. She deserves to be punished. And Angle's like, okay, Ronda, you're going to have to be suspended for 1 more week, but when you come back, you'll get a shot at Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title at SummerSlam. But Baron Corbin was all mad because he was like, oh, I'm going to call Stephanie McMahon about this. This isn't right. And then he couldn't find his phone, and he went backstage to find his phone, but Kurt Angle had his phone. So it was like a whole thing with Baron Corbin not finding his phone. So I guess you're saying that maybe Corbin will have spoken to Stephanie by Monday night, and Ronda will not be getting a shot at Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title at SummerSlam?
I just wouldn't be surprised if Stephanie gets involved in some capacity, because she got involved last time Ronda was going to have a match. It feels like Stephanie always wants to be involved in Ronda's stuff, so we're going to see Stephanie again soon on Raw, I believe.
So Stephanie as a special referee for Ronda versus Alexa?
Yeah, maybe. So you've completely abandoned ship on Nia Jax getting the title shot too, right?
Well, it just doesn't seem like they're going in that direction. Just when I start to really appreciate Nia Jax, they disappear her.
Because it's all about Ronda, man.
As it should be. I get that. But Nia didn't... Well, I guess she did lose. She lost at Extreme Rules, right?
She lost in a handicap situation in their favor. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. Nia had Natty ringside with her, and Ronda was kind of helping her out too, but Mickey and Alexa somehow managed to get the win over Nia Jax.
That makes a lot of sense. The heels can overpower the faces, the powerful faces too.
Yeah, 3-on-2. How tough are Mickey and Alexa Bliss? They wind up taking out Ronda Rousey, beating Nia Jax, and taking out Natalya in the process. Natty really didn't look that strong. She just got beat up real quick, and I was like, boop, that's it. There goes Natty.
Well, how powerful is Nia? She's supposed to be able to take on people handicap match style. Ronda's supposed to be a killer. It made no sense.
It didn't make a lot of sense.
That was the problem of Extreme Rules. That was one of the major problems.
So it will be Ronda versus Alexa at SummerSlam for the title, right?
Yeah, it will be, I think, somehow, some way. But there will be Stephanie, I think, involved. Special referee makes a lot of sense, I think. Because I feel Ronda would easily beat Alexa, but because Stephanie wouldn't count the 3, that will make the match longer than it would actually be.
The SmackDown Women's title at SummerSlam probably going to be Becky Lynch versus Carmella. Becky has a match with Carmella coming up Tuesday night, and if she wins, she gets the title shot at SummerSlam.
We saw this coming.
Yeah, Becky's been on a roll. And now Asuka, after losing to Carmella again, gets shifted back down the card. Not looking great for Asuka. They had a star with Asuka, and they've just kind of ruined her.
It's a true shame. It's too bad. She's a great talent. The fact that she was never champion on Raw or SmackDown, unbelievable.
They gave her the Women's Royal Rumble, the first ever Women's Rumble. She won. Then she lost to Charlotte, and she really hasn't been the same since.
It's too bad, but I'm glad they got Ellsworth a spot again in WWE because he's been great to watch. And I hope he's not done because apparently there's a rumor that he might be done.
Already?
Yeah, which is a shame because to me, he's what's making Carmella watchable.
Yeah.
Her wrestling's fine, but the segments, not so great. Her promos. But when you have Ellsworth there, it's great. I know some people are annoyed by Ellsworth, but that's why he's great, because he can annoy you. I mean, he looks so pathetic, yet he also pisses you off too. So he's doing a great job.
No, he's good. He's good. I like Ellsworth. He does make Carmella a lot more fun to watch, too, because when she just goes out there by herself and gets the promos, it's like, is this over yet? Speaking of, is this over yet? As we mentioned, Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, Drew McIntyre, triple threat. It was a pretty good match. But then Dolph Ziggler showed up and cut a promo, and Bobby Roode arrived, and then we had Dolph Ziggler versus Bobby Roode.
It's like SmackDown.
How was that?
It was long.
Yeah. Not too good.
Wasn't a title match, though.
No. I don't think it will be either.
No,
Roode lost, right? So maybe Ziggler, maybe Dean Ambrose comes back to challenge Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental title. Like, who does Ziggler defend against at SummerSlam?
I feel multi-man, because I feel there'd be a lot of challengers for Ziggler.
But if the Universal title is going to be a 4-way like you're predicting, or a 3-way, you're going to have another multi-man match for the Intercontinental title?
They haven't done a 6-way yet on the show.
Oh, boy.
There you go. 6-way ladder match, too.
So, like, Bobby and Mojo and, like, everybody?
Seth. Throw in Dean, too. Why not?
Seth and Dean, yeah, why not? Mojo made fun of Bobby Roode, and then he beat Tyler Breeze with a very stiff Alabama slam. That match was rough. I'm enjoying Mojo's work because he's really rough in there. Looks good. Hard shots.
Yeah, he's more enjoyable to watch than before, but I'm not saying I'm going on my way to watch Raw for Mojo Rawley.
No.
He's not there yet, but...
But he's not like a total tune-out.
No, I'm interested to see what's going to happen.
He's improving.
Yeah.
Sasha Banks and Bayley against Dana Brooke and Alicia Fox went to a double count-out. Bayley was getting double-teamed outside the ring. Sasha helped her out, and then everybody got counted out. Sasha then left without Bayley. But then they were backstage, and they seemed to have made up, right? Bayley's like, how come you won't admit you care about me? And Sasha's like, I do care about you. I love you, Bayley. She started crying. They hugged. Did they hug? No, they didn't hug. I think Sasha just walked away. Yeah. She's like, I love you, Bayley. And it was real nice. It was kind of weird.
So, like, love? Like...
No, John. You know, they're just like... She's her friend, and she's always there for her, type of thing.
Well, I think this is going to end up leading to a match between the two at SummerSlam.
Again?
At SummerSlam. And the loser's going to get traded, right? Because apparently if they don't get along, they were told this, someone's getting traded.
But they got along.
For now, somewhat. Yes, no, I think. The way that ended, so... I think they're going to have a match SummerSlam. Barclays Center again, too, no? Makes sense.
The B Team beat the Ascension this week. The B Team, the new Raw Tag Team Champions. They will have a rematch against the Deleters of Worlds coming up Raw on Monday. Do the Deleters take the tag team titles back, or do we see the B Team against the Authors of Pain maybe at SummerSlam?
Well, I imagine you've seen Matt Hardy's tweets lately.
What's the deal?
Saying that he prefers to be at home or something, like... And his wife's been tweeting that, too, that he'd rather his husband be at home. So, is this it?
I don't know. Like, it feels like the Hardys, both Matt and Jeff, are kind of annoyed with where they're at. I would be, too. I mean, if you're Matt Hardy, you were the biggest thing in wrestling a couple years ago, and now you're just in a tag team, not even with your brother, but with Bray Wyatt, and you're losing to the B Team, and... the creative is just not that good, and you can't really do what you want, and there's no plans for another deletion segment. You know, it's just like, what's the point of staying in WWE and being away from your family if this is all you're getting?
There's also the road, too.
Well, that's it.
And Matt...
But the road is easier when what you're doing on TV is fun, you know? And what they're doing with Matt Hardy right now is not that fun. I can't imagine he's having a lot of fun with it.
His body's also like really beat up at this point in his life. He's done a lot. I mean, maybe this is it. And you know, if they aren't putting the tag team titles back on him, maybe it's for the best.
I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with Matt Hardy. I feel like Jeff Hardy's also not too happy. He cut a promo saying his heart was broken, and He wanted to fade away and make somebody obsolete. You know, it feels like Jeff and Matt both wish that they were doing more of the broken universe type stuff, and they're not able to, and they're frustrated.
Wasn't Nakamura doing like the delete thing, like blocking him? Like,
was he?
Yeah.
I don't know. Nakamura is great as a heel. He's really good. When he said "God bless America" on SmackDown,
did he say "God bless the America" or something?
No, he said "God bless America."
Okay.
He said Jeff Hardy's a sad clown and he was going to make him cry, and then he said "God bless America" with a little kind of laugh, and he walked away. U.S. champion Shinsuke Nakamura. I like him. He's very good. Sarah Logan beat Ember Moon, your favorite, this week on Raw. John, what happened?
Well, Ember can't win every match. It was still probably Sarah Logan's best match she's ever had in WWE because Ember carried her with that kind of match, but they don't make Ember invincible, which I think is fine. It goes to show with Asuka, if you make them invincible, after you take their invincibility away, they have nothing. So Ember shouldn't just rely on being undefeated.
Ember's kind of in a weird spot because she's a really good wrestler, but the Raw Women's Division is not at all about her.
She just has to keep having good performances, and eventually they'll be forced to give her something really good in terms of the storyline.
I don't know. Doesn't seem to be the way it works for Asuka.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So thanks. You're really like saying that it's doomed, it's hopeless, like just give up.
Well, just because you're a really good wrestler doesn't mean the WWE is going to do anything with you.
Well, look at Curtis Axel. Look how he's toiled away doing nothing on main event, and now look where he is now.
Look at Eric Young. He got a win over Kofi Kingston on SmackDown this week.
It's a good match. Solid match, too.
Yeah, it was. It's kind of like if you told me 5 years ago it was going to happen on SmackDown. It's like, oh, yeah, really?
It actually may have actually happened because I think Eric Young did get like a tryout.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it did.
But it's like, it's cool to see Eric Young one-on-one with Kofi Kingston on SmackDown. It's like a weird little match. It was fun.
Well, it's nice to see this is continuing. Like, New Day's going to get Sanity over, I believe, if they keep wrestling them.
Maybe. They Sanity beat them at the Extreme Rules, and now Eric Young beats Kofi here on SmackDown, and maybe they'll do another thing at SummerSlam. I don't think it's over between Sanity and the New Day. It is over between us right now. The show is coming to an end. Johnny, when can people see you in the ring?
Well, I'm not sure, but I was worried when you were saying. I thought like we were done. Like it's over forever.
Well, no, just for tonight.
Okay, good. Thank God. But I don't know yet. I'll let you know when my next booking is.
All right, follow him on Twitter at North Genesis. Follow him on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dave Simon MMA. WrestlingUncensored.net is our website. Check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net with the DOTNET spelled out, ringsidereport.net. And subscribe on iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review, some comments, whatever. We're on iTunes, we're on TuneIn, we're on Google Play, we're on YouTube, and everything is at WrestlingUncensored.net, ringsidereport.net, the online home. We got you covered. Thank you to Jimmy and Marco for helping us out back at TSN 690, and a big thanks to you for listening. For Johnny North, I am Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah.
Yeah.